While there's usually still plenty to pick in late summer, there's always the risk that warm season staples like tomatoes and beans start to fizzle out. Keeping them going is all about plant health and extending the conditions they need to thrive. So whether you're a new or seasoned gardener, don't lose potentially half your harvests simply by letting things slip. Here are my 6 strategies to keep those pickings coming. Don't let plants set seed, because the moment a plant has started ripening seeds, it thinks it's done its job. It's getting ready to produce the next generation and it can slow down. Now, to keep plants coming with their harvests is very simple. For tomatoes, it just means picking fruits whenever they're ready. They produce viable seeds anyhow in what you pick, but the more we can pick them, the more will keep on coming. Beans, on the other hand, are a different matter altogether. These vines need checking at least every 2 days to make sure that the pods are picked nice and young before they start to swell, because as soon as they do swell and start maturing, then plants really do slow down. And then there is that ever dependable summer staple, the zucchini or courgette. Now, production really does start to slow down a bit later in summer, especially as leaves get a bit tattered and mildewed. But what we can do to keep them coming as best as we can is pick them nice and young and small. If they get really big, kind of approaching marrow size, then the plants will start to really slow down. So keep picking them nice and tender like this while they're still beautifully nutty and dense. I'm sure you've been feeding and watering consistently throughout the summer. You have, haven't you? Well, either way, it's never been so important as right now. Feeding your plants regularly will give them the energy they need to carry on producing well into the autumn or indeed the fall. Now, for tomatoes, that means applying a feed once every 7 to 10 days, whether something off the shelf or something homemade like a lovely fish fertiliser. Beans may also benefit from the occasional balanced feed, but avoid anything that's too high in nitrogen, or you may at this stage in growth get more foliage than pods. Now, in practice for me, that just means sploshing over some liquid tomato fertiliser on my beans, maybe once or twice a week at this point in the summer. I'll also water my zucchini or courgette too using a tomato feed to replace some of the nutrients taken out of the soil from heavy fruit production earlier in the summer. When watering, avoid great wet, dry swings which can cause blossom end rot in tomatoes and tough beans. Aim for consistent soil moisture. Plants can look a bit tattered and tired towards the end of summer, especially if you've been away for a couple of weeks. Now, I just have come back from being away and, well, this plant here looks a bit sorry for itself. It's got some really old straggly leaves and some mildewed leaves as well. But a little light pruning and tidying can give these summer staples a new lease of life. So I'm just going to cut away anything that's really tattered and old and just leave that fresh new growth in the middle. And then, well, the plant will look so much healthier, you'll see. And there is our completed plant looking so much healthier, and it'll have so much more vim and vigour now to ripen those fruits that are developing at the centre. Remove any dead, damaged or yellowed leaves from tomatoes, as well as any side shoots from vining or cordon tomatoes. Once there's likely to be only a few weeks left in the growing season to ripen your tomatoes, just stop your tomato plants by cutting off the very top like that. Now, this will focus all of the plant's energy into ripening the fruits that have already set, rather than forming new ones which may not ripen in time. Remove any yellowed or dead leaves from beans too. It will help to improve airflow and with it, general plant health. Late season challenges are aplenty, but that doesn't mean we need to throw the towel in, not on your Nelly. Removing any dead plant debris, avoiding splashing leaves when you're watering, and ensuring good airflow should really help to slow the progress of any diseases. Keep a close eye out for pests like whitefly and spider mite, because both of these can really flare up in warm, late summer conditions. Wetting hard surfaces in enclosed environments like a greenhouse or polytunnel can help to really raise humidity nice and high, which spider mites can't stand. As late summer tips into autumn, nighttime temperatures can start to get a bit chilly, and we can keep our warm season staples a bit happier by covering them in something like a low tunnel or a few layers of fleece, at least at nighttime, to trap the warmth around the plants. But do remove it during the day so obviously the bees can get in and fertilise those flowers. Any container grown plants can always be moved against a nice sun facing wall to luxuriate in the warmth radiated back out at night. As well as giving beans the occasional liquid feed, they can also be given a late season boost with a top dressing of something like well rotted compost or manure. This is also great for squash family plants like zucchini or courgettes, by the way. This simple act can be sometimes all that's needed to give plants a new lease of life. Now, tomatoes will benefit from that light pruning we've discussed, and also giving them a good feed to ensure they ripen those fruits. Now, if you're in a really warm climate, there may still just be enough time to sow one final crop of dwarf or bush beans, and maybe even a sneaky crop of cucumbers. And then there is the prospect of ripening the stubbornly green late season tomatoes, but there are a few things we can do to coax them along. Towards the end of summer, you might want to remove some of the masses of foliage from right around your ripening trusses so that the sunshine can directly get at those tomatoes and help them ripen. Now, there are two schools of thought about this. Some believe that all the energy is coming from the plant to ripen the tomatoes and you don't need to remove the foliage. Others think the gentle warmth from the sun will really help. I think a compromise is, if there's plenty of foliage, just remove the most heavily shaded fruits. Now, if a frost threatens, please do bring in all of your green tomatoes indoors to finish off ripening in the warm, and you can speed them along a bit quicker by popping them into a paper bag with a banana. For more on ripening green tomatoes, or indeed enjoying them in all their green goddess-like goodness, because believe me, they can be delicious like this, check out this video next. I'll catch you next time.